On April 25th, at this bus stop, one boy...
It sounds scary game now.
15. On April 25th, at this bus stop, one boy, 15 years old, shot and killed a 17-year-old boy with a revolver.
WXLT TV, Channel 40, Sarasota Break.
Can we check for toes though?
Lost media is a topic that I have been enamored by for years, yet have surprisingly not formally gotten into. The thought of disturbing TV broadcasts, audio, and VHS footage that have been lost to time is fascinating, and the links that people go to find them is incredible. So much dark and disturbing content has existed even before the internet, and the aim of this series is to dive into them, their search, and their stories, because, as it turns out, some of the darkest lost media out there seems to have always existed among us.
Okay, dude. Okay. The devil hidden within them. Okay.
The following is a presentation of the Christian Television Network. Come and join us for a half hour of fun and games at Joy Junction. Now here's Sheriff Don.
Good to see you.
1980. The show is broadcasting on the Christian television network named Joy Junction. It's textbook public access TV, set at the eponymous village and hosted by the town sheriff. Throughout the show's lifespan, the town residents would join in for educational bits about the Bible, and kids were encouraged to take part in various games. It seemed to have been pretty successful during its time, as it was on the air for a few years. Bizarrely, nearly every record and archive of this show ever existing have been wiped though, merely leaving us with a handful of surviving re-uploads on YouTube. This has, admittedly, made it difficult to find any further information about Joy Junction, aside from what we can distill from the existing footage.
Maybe it's just bad.
But that's okay, because that's not the main reason we're here anyway.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. What's happening?
Hey, Ron. Good to see you.
Oh, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting on you. Oh, I'm sorry I got tied up, Marty, but traffic was heavy and the stores were busy. You know how it is when you go.
I know
One
the
of the
best
show's
medic
cast members
against
was a
headaches for you.
ventriloquist by the
A
name
1
of
million
Ron, and
bonus.
he was present in nearly every episode, joined by his doll Marty.
They're going to come back. Well, I did come back, didn't I? Yeah. I told you I would come back, didn't I? Yeah. And I'm sorry.
Typically, they'd have a quick conversation about whatever the topic of the day was, and it, at least in the surviving archives, appeared to serve as a bridge between two segments of the show. Ron's full name was Ronald Brown, and in the years following the show's eventual end, he'd launch his own puppeteering company out of Florida called Puppets Plus. On his website at puppetsplus.com, we can observe a myriad of their clients, along with the age groups that he was primarily hired for. Ages 2 to 5, and 6 to 11. Now, at first glance, this seems par for the course in his profession. Children's entertainment was his forte. However, it's when we back up and take a look at Ronald as a person when things begin to sour. You see, throughout the years, Ronald had a strange dynamic with children. For instance, in 1998, he was pulled over for a traffic violation and was found to be in possession of boys' underwear. His excuse was that he used them for his puppets, and he was eventually let off. Other complaints came throughout the 2000s about him giving rides to kids in his church van. Unfortunately, police could never do much because there wasn't any explicit crime being committed. It was incredibly strange, but unfortunately not enough to warrant any sort of arrest. Where things really get nutty though, is when we jump to the early 2010s, in which Brown would find himself caught in a web of controversy.
That's the computer. What is this message board? This is like MSN, but bad. What is this?
In May of 2012, a man named Michael Arnett was arrested after a sting operation. He was charged with the production of, and upon searching his home and computer, they would find chat logs on Yahoo Messenger between he and a person going by the name U.E. Lime. As it turned out, Arnett would produce these images and distribute them to various others online from the username CK3666, Sweet Talker Linda, and Calfkeeper2. You'll notice that U.E. Lime was outward about their desires. They expressed interest in cannibalism, torture, sexual assault, and all of it was directed towards children, even as young as 2. The catch here, though, is that U.E. Lime wasn't just a random person. It was Ronald Brown, his secret online alias in which he'd express his fantasy about the kids he surrounded himself with daily. Let me remind you that this was a man whose entire career, entire life, was centered around associating with kids. Someone who was, at one point, on television in front of thousands. To say that these chat logs were a bad look would be putting it lightly. And yes, the messages you're seeing are straight out of the official case file.
So were these pictures taken after or before him? I couldn't tell the timeline of this.
After corresponding with Yahoo.com, authorities were able to track down Ronald Brown and tie his username to a profile on a necrophilia website named cutedeadguys.net. Ronald's profile has been lost to time. However, through his own case report, we're able to find details describing it. On this site, his bio read, "I love them young and dead. I enjoy them fresh, but like to see them displayed in their casket too." And a few snippets from his post history. "I like the blonde boy. Would love to snuff him. Very hot pics. That boy looks dead. I like that one. I'd love to kill them." It's safe to say that at this point, there was more than enough to warrant an arrest. And on July 19th of 2012, that notion would finally become a reality.
Federal marshals arrested a Largo man for possessing and conspiring to kidnap a child. They say he was a puppeteer who performed for children in the Bay Area. News Channel 8's Yolanda Fernandez has been following this story for us. She's joining us live tonight from Pinellas County.
Well, Keith, 57-year-old Ron Brown is here in the Pinellas County Jail tonight. Federal investigators say it was his gruesome and very graphic online chats with the
Brown's house was raided, and scattered across his home were images of pictures of kids being tied up, and even some that appeared to be dead.
What?
Furthermore, agents found CDs with much of the same material, a blow-up sex doll dressed in boys' clothes, a journal he kept about his fantasies dating back to 1978, and even books about serial killers and cannibalism. He was eventually found guilty of possession of and was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison with a lifetime of supervision thereafter.
Wait,
Had he lived out his full sentence, he would be out sometime in 2033. However, as of August of 2020, it's reported that he is now deceased. My heart goes out to the children who had to suffer for the pleasure of this monster and all of those who associated with him. For his entire life, he was calculated and knew what he was doing. His career, his church van favors, his company parties, all a front for some of the darkest desires imaginable.
I didn't say peace.
I understand why Joy Junction's records were wiped. It was a show with a good premise and good intentions. I won't deny that. However, now bears a reputation forever stained by the devil, hidden within them. Before we continue, just a couple quick announcements. First off, I'd like to formally announce my second channel, called Nexpo After Hours.
That's what's merch, Pac-Man. Um, 37, 38. I'll check out when I come close to it.
The year is 1928, and a romantic disaster film about Noah's Ark hits theaters. Directed by a man named Michael Curtiz, it premieres during a transitional period between silent movies and talkies, or films with actual spoken dialogue. Because of this, it's mostly regarded as a hybrid film with long scenes being played over music, and with it comes a healthy dose of extensive criticism. Most of the backlash is due to its runtime, clocking in at a whopping 2 hours and 15 minutes long, with considerable portions containing awkward dialogue and drawn-out scenes. Sitting through this movie is, to put it lightly, a considerable undertaking. Because of this, the film is pulled for revision, and the cut content is never shown again.
Okay, doesn't sound too crazy.
A good portion of the cut footage came from what the movie is mostly known for today, and that's the flood scene. In it, we can observe a slew of actors fighting their way out of a crumbling temple and towards the Ark to stay alive. It's a grandiose set with a lot going on, and keeping in mind the time period, all of this was pulled off with practical effects. These people were, legitimately, submerged.
Wait a minute.
Some might consider the acting here to be pretty well done. Like I said, this scene is grand, and due to the time period, was all pulled off practically. The thing is, some of these actors weren't actually acting, as during this scene, 3 actors drowned and 1 reportedly lost their leg. This was the result of over 600,000 gallons of water being dumped across the set, something that the film's extras were reportedly unaware of. It's been reported that, before filming commenced, Michael Curtiz was warned against putting so many people in danger. However, he shrugged it off, claiming...
What? They're just gonna have to take their chances? What is that supposed to mean?
That the extras were expected to be prepared for anything, and that, quote, they're just gonna have to take their chances. In the original cut of the movie, it's rumored that you could see these deaths happen on screen with a much more fleshed out flood scene. However, since the revisions, that original version is forever considered lost. It's rumored that Curtis was in pursuit of relentless perfection. He wanted his movie to be grand and authentic. However, in this chase came a loss of life that did not need to happen, leaving Noah's Ark forever stained with an enduring legacy of tragedy.
Interesting. Perfection, of course.
Searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
What, because of Casablanca, did you actually? It's a great movie.
On the 2nd of July 2014, an ad was made on Craigslist. It came from an 18-year-old girl named Brooke Slocum and was but a simple request for cash.
I need $50 by 3:30 p.m. today. I can pay you back later tonight, but I need gas and some mess quick. Everyone has bronchitis at my house and I do not want to get sick. I'm 8 months pregnant and my lungs are all squished as is. If you could help, me and my daughter will greatly appreciate it.
This post remained untouched for 10 days. At 10:08 p.m. on the night of July 12th, Slocum receives an email from a man going by the name Mike's Hard. I can host, what are you thinking? I'm 25.
Wait, host what?
This was a reply to other, separate ads that Brooke made around the same time period, in which she would solicit sex for money. According to her friends, it wasn't willingly, as her then boyfriend, 25-year-old Charles Oppenheer, would coerce her to do this while accompanying her during these meetups. Reluctant, Slocum responds 20 minutes later.
Well, we're looking for donations if possible. Kinda in a tight spot, and we have a baby on the way. As far as the fund goes, though, there won't be any mail.
How does $120 sound? I can drive you over here if you need.
No, we can travel, just can't host is all. When and where would you like to meet up?
I like to f*** outside in a park around 11:30. That okay?
I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble for indecent exposure or anything. I can't go to jail being 8 months pregnant.
It's cop-free. It's a park, but behind it there are lots of woods. No cops at all.
Okay, I mean, this is fucking cooked up already.
This last email arrived at 10:59 p.m. And as we can see, Mike's Hard was keen on meeting that same night. Needless to say, Slocum ended up accepting, and their trip to Kazan Park in Wyoming, Michigan was on.
Shortly.
It's midnight. The couple arrives, with Mike pulling up shortly after. Initially believing this to be another sex meetup, the two approach Mike without much concern. Sometime during the next few minutes, Brooke is grabbed, bound, and shoved into the trunk of Mike's car. In haste, Charles tries to help, however is unsuccessful, resulting in a violent altercation between the two. It's unclear how long this fight lasted. However, what is certain is that during this, Charles was violently killed. Mike drags his body near the woods, saws his head off, and covers the remains with sticks. And without so much of a single witness, he jumps in his car and, alongside Charles Head and Brooks Slocum stowed behind him, drives off into the night.
Okay, Jesus.
After realizing that Oppenhier's car had not moved in days, police began probing on his whereabouts. When asked, his parents drummed up nothing, his work nothing. No one knew where he was, but his car was there. And so they began searching the park on July 17th, 5 days after the incident with Mike's Hard. Upon scouring the wooded area that lined its back end, they then discover a headless body under some brush. And it was later identified as Charles Oppenhier. In the coming hours, it was realized that Oppenhier wasn't single, and his girlfriend, too, was missing. In haste, authorities obtained a search warrant for her apartment and began searching her laptop. On it, there were a myriad of conversations. However, one thread from Mike's Hard stood out among the rest. The Internet Crimes Against Children Unit was called in for analysis on the real name behind the alias, and they found that this address was tied to another email which was tied to a Facebook for a man not named Mike, but Brady Ostrike. They stake out near his home while they await a search warrant. There wasn't enough evidence for an arrest warrant by this point, so that was a frustrating roadblock. The hours tick by without much happening.
How not?
However, around 9 p.m. on the night of July 17th, Brady would be spotted jumping into his car and leaving his home. A few moments later, he stopped by a nearby officer. Before they could get to him, though, he takes off, leading to a grueling pursuit.
What kind of car is that? A Cobalt?
Eventually, he loses control and crashes into a cement barrier.
So back on a straight line?
As the officers pull up for apprehension, however, he on the head and falls forth to his death. A few seconds later, police approach and search his vehicle. In it was 31-year-old Brady Ostrike, dead in the front seat, and in the trunk, stuffed within a suitcase, was 18-year-old Brooks Slocum and her unborn daughter, both of whom were deceased. Upon searching Ostrike's home shortly after, they discovered a plethora of ropes, knives, swords, cages, straps, and bizarre writings that make little to no sense at all. His toilet was inoperable, and the entire place was nothing short of rancid.
Jesus.
Most interesting of all, however, was the discovery of cameras. As it turned out, he had them all over his home so he could document his actions. And what you're seeing here is Ostrike as he prepares the basement he kept Slocum in for those agonizing 5 days. Now, there exists footage of Brady Ostrike's grueling torture of Brooks Slocum. However, you'll never see it.
Well, no
The
shit.
police department has gone on record to say that they will never release it,
Well, I mean,
however
dude.
describe it as something straight out of a nightmare. During the time Slocum was captive, and even when police were right outside the home, she was locked in handcuffs with a chain around her neck. Reportedly, Ostrike had bound her arms to the ropes hanging from the ceiling and left her dangling while he sexually assaulted and tortured her before strangling her to death. All of this was captured on film. Years later, Oppenhier's head was found off some back roads, 17 miles north of Gizon Park. It's a chilling end to a disturbing online saga and really drives home the fact that you really don't know who it is you're meeting with on Craigslist, dating apps, OfferUp, what have you, until you actually come face to face. What began as a simple request for just $50 had
Are you good, man? What kind of shit are you watching? Dude, if you're not watching it, just don't watch it, man.
led to the loss of 3 lives following a days-long nightmare
We've been watching Nexpo for
orchestrated by a
years,
depraved
man. What are you talking about?
The torture footage is, as of 2022, considered indefinite lost media that may never see the light of day. However, considering what exactly it entails, I don't think we'd really want it to.
It's called Nexpo. Nexpo, yeah, it's good videos. Not all of them are good if you're gonna watch all of them. You should probably watch the one we watched. I think they're good choices. Wait, they're all good, but some of them are slower, that's all.
Win Armstrong
For Coast Federal. WXLT TV, Channel 40, Sarasota, Bradenton.
We're with you on ABC with you.
I mean, players couldn't go in, you can't really blame them either.
The year is 1972, and a reporter named Christine Chabuk eagerly lands a job at WXLT Channel 40 in Sarasota, Florida. Initially hired as a reporter, she was reassigned to a spot named Suncoast Digest, a local affairs segment that ran at 9 a.m. every Saturday.
Wait.
During her time there,
Is there a movie about this?
Yeah, we watched it.
Oh, Sammy, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
This is the movie that I actually hated you for watching that. It was so fucking boring.
But you literally, we stopped watching it and then we went back to it because you literally.
If I say saying, you know the highway movies though, I'll watch anything till the end.
No, I watch anything.
Oh my god, Sammy, I'm bad at muting.
I
Fucking get mad at you.
I watch all the dog shit, everything. You don't like when I watch dog
Sammy,
shit.
even the best movies, you'll literally watch them for 3 minutes and fall asleep.
Yeah, but.
No, you watch it, you're asleep the whole time.
Yeah, when I'm with you, but when I'm alone, I watch everything.
Okay. What I'm saying is that I'll consume any video you put. Sammy, I watch your dog musicals. All the fuck.
Sweeney Todd is not a dog shit musical. It's good.
Okay.
Fine.
It's a musical.
Chat that will say Sweeney Todd is the dog shit musical. It's not. It's great.
Okay. Whatever. You're just. I mean.
No one's gonna harm you. Not while I'm around.
she'd become attracted to a fellow reporter named George Ryan and would seek his attention by baking him cakes and expressing a desire to hang out. When she realized that he was already romantically involved with another coworker, however, it was detrimental to her self-image, as Christine historically had difficulty finding love. According to her family, she'd go on dates with various men throughout the years, however had trouble connecting socially with them. On top of this, by 1973, Chabuk underwent surgery to have one of her ovaries removed, and as a result, her doctors began to pressure her, claiming that if she wasn't able to conceive within 2 to 3 years thereafter, she may never be able to.
The following program is brought to
Toes,
you
you're
in
not
living
put time in.
color on NBC.
Super spy Fred Flintstone.
3750, 3835.
Is off on the trail of the mysterious green goose, a master of
Tonight we begin with the death of a man armed with scissors. He was shot by police 24 times.
Do something, get him to do something about the problem. Meantime, they say they're going to back the leafleting up with a meeting this Friday with city and state officials.
Good evening. More than 100 people were reported dead in a plane crash near New York's Kennedy Airport this afternoon. The plane was an Eastern Airlines 727 nearing the end.
As 1974 approached, Chabuk witnessed a shift in news methodology. Christine always had a desire to pursue what she believed to be high-impact stories about issues affecting the community. However, WXLT executives were leaning more towards stories that were juicier, per se, utilizing fear and sensational...
Yeah, because nobody gives a shit about that, and nobody watches that shit. I mean, Yeah, of course you can blame the media for this, but I mean, people don't watch that shit.
To drive viewership, in turn generating revenue. The news she was tasked with reporting began to shift further and further towards spectacle and shock, and she frequently rallied against this, to no avail. Resultingly, she became stuck in a mindset, in a world that she was growing to hate. Her professional life, her personal life, everything around her.
They did it before? Yeah, I mean...
Good evening, I'm Steve Newman, and this is Channel 40 Weather Watch. It's going to be even cooler tonight than tomorrow night than tonight. The reason for this, with the passage of the cold front today, when we picked up some showers, skies have cleared very nicely. And as a result...
On the 15th of July, 1974, Christine enthusiastically entered the station. Instead of opening Suncoast Digest traditionally, however, she claimed that there was a newscast she had to read to open it, something that hadn't been done hitherto. She takes her seat at the news desk, and for the first 8 minutes, opens her segment about 3 national news stories and a shooting that took place the day prior. Following this, a film reel of the shooting was supposed to play, but had jammed, leaving a few moments of dead air. In response, Christine apologized for the error before taking out a script she had handwritten and reading to the viewers the following.
Why do people watch this guy? It's so boring. Mario, give him 1 hour. Mario, man, we're gonna have to go back to the training station, me and you, man. Listen. I got you need to do this. You see this shit? See this guy? You gotta go like this, right? Unban because he's a nice guy, right? And then fucking perm up that motherfucker. Fuck you! You gotta do it like that. If you don't want, I can show you off stream though.
I just remembered.
What's up?
I just remembered. I fell asleep before the end of this movie.
Yeah, no shit.
You watched it and then I had to go watch it by myself.
I fell asleep during our movie time and I made you watch it on your own. That's so funny, dude.
No, because I thought we went back to it together because you liked it, but actually you just watched the whole thing.
It's rated like 4.6 on the IMDb, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's actual
I
dog.
never said it was good. I was just saying that you went.
It was interesting though, because like I said, I watch all your videos that are about like real stories or whatever, to know the story in a entertaining way, right? That I don't have to watch it in a fucking documentary. Yeah. But I like documentaries anyway. But yeah, whatever.
Statistics. This weekend, being typical of the recent rash of violence, saw one man stabbed, another assaulted, and a third shot and wounded. Sarasota police report the finding of an 18-year-old, a man by the name of David Wynn, in the parking lot of a Friendly Tavern on 27th Street. Wynn had an apparent stab wound in the chest, which, according to witnesses, was inflicted by James Whitworth during a fight. Police charged Whitworth with aggravated assault. Wynn is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. The second attempted armed robbery in a week has involved law enforcement officers from both Sarasota and Manatee counties. Last week, teenage gunmen held up the highway bar and, after a shootout and high-speed automobile chase, held a family hostage and finally were nabbed by Sarasota Sheriff's deputies. Early Sunday morning, the Beef and Bottle restaurant north of Sarasota Bradenton Airport on US 41 was the site of an attempted armed robbery and shooting. TV40 newsman Bob Peterson was on the scene shortly after it began, and he filed this report. Sorry, for those of you who saw Late Night Weekend News Watch last night, we did have a film report and a commentary by Bob Peterson. Unfortunately, we had technical difficulties and cannot bring it to you now. However, News Watch tonight at 5:30, and we will have that story for you then. As of this morning, Grace Foster, who was shot in that incident, is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. In keeping with the WXLT practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news, TV40 presents what is believed to be a television first. In living color, exclusive coverage of an attempted suicide.
At this moment, Christine drew a Smith & Wesson revolver that she had hidden in her bag, placed it behind her right ear, and fired. immediately falling forward onto her desk. In a frantic response, the tech directors quickly faded the broadcast to black and scrambled to play a movie thereafter. Calls began to flood in, with viewers questioning the authenticity of what they just witnessed, with some believing that this was just a morbid joke or a prank. However, it was far from it. She was rushed to Sarasota Hospital, and back at the station, the news director, Mike Simmons, had discovered 2 pages of a script left behind by her. The first page contained what we heard prior, however the second was a follow-up intended to be read by a third party. Today, Christine Chibuk during a live broadcast. She was rushed to Sarasota Memorial Hospital, where she remains in critical condition. Surprisingly, Christine's prediction turned out to be correct, not only because she was at that very hospital, but because she remained in critical condition for 14 hours until her eventual death. Christine's body was cremated and spread in the Gulf of Mexico, marking the end of a life full of despair. To those around her and to her loved ones, however, an agonizing void was left that would forever go unfilled. Reportedly, only one tape of this incident existed and was kept by Bob Nelson, the station's owner. After his death, his wife Molly would inherit it before handing it over to a law firm for good. As of now, this is where it lies, and for the foreseeable future, may never see the light of day.
Oh, good. Guys, the whole premise of this video entirely is that it's all lost media. Okay, that's the whole point. So you think that maybe it's anticlimactic or dumb or like why even saying this? That's the whole point of the video. Yes, something that you can't see, you can't find, would be considered lost media. That's what all these are. You're saying, well, it's not lost. They're keeping it somewhere. No, that's lost media. Literally, it's how they do the term or how they use it. Oh, because somebody posted something really dumb or whatever on YouTube right now and removed it and nobody recorded it, right? Well, technically, the guy who produced it still has it. It's not even lost either. He has it. But it's still lost media.
We will return after these messages.
Good morning.
To preface this last entry, I'd like to state from the outset that the following could be absolutely nothing. The answer could be completely mundane. However, the footage in this section has personally stood out to me because of how bizarrely out of place it is and how little info there is about it. I was gonna put it in the next disturbing things. However, I think it
What happens here? It's too negative for me. Just watching TikTok. Let's change the whole broadcast just for you because you don't want to watch it.
Info there is about it. I was gonna put it in the next disturbing things. However, I think it fits better here. Let us begin. It's the 1980s. Beetlejuice makes its debut. Journey, Survivor, Guns N' Roses, and our favorite Rick Astley are on the airwaves. And over on a stand-up comedy show named An Evening at the Improv, a child actor turned musician named Corey Feldman is world premiering his latest track, Something in Your Eyes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start the show off tonight a bit differently than usual. What I'm going to do is I'm going to world premiere my song that I just finished writing and producing with Michael Damian from my new movie, Dream a Little Dream, with Jason.
Yeah, 3750.
Robards. It's called Something in Your Eyes. I'm going to do it right now.
As we can see, he had a mixed reaction from the audience. Clearly lip-syncing and taking inspiration from Michael Jackson, he employs dance moves in a musical style that attempts to emulate them. Upon looking through comments about him on YouTube, it's clear that history hasn't exactly been kind to Feldman. But that's beside the point. The reason I bring this video up in the first place is because, towards the song's end, Feldman's producer makes an incredibly strange cutaway to something that is very out of place for a video like this. Have a look.
I don't know what happens then. Yeah, so some people say it's not. Is it or not? It is. It's blurred. I'll look for one up.
Let it go. You should have held on. Stop running away.
Is that it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it could be. Yeah, I mean, it's like some girl. I mean, censored, but I mean, she could be dead, so I don't know.
Stop running away.
I'm not gonna risk it. It's just a fucking dead body almost.
What is this? And why is it here? Nowhere in this song does Feldman make
I'll just fucking skip it, to be honest. There's no point
any sort of mention about a woman being bound to a pool table. And after performing a cursory scan of his other music videos, cutaways like this never happen again.
Okay.
This seems eerily out of place, and discussion about this is painstakingly few and far between. The only mentions I could find about it were from Reddit and a few YouTube comments. However, none of them garnered much attention, and their sources are pretty much non-existent. With that being said, let's circle back to the footage so we can break it down ourselves.
Yeah, we could just fucking skip it, to be honest.
As we can see, the part from the
Okay. Is that it? Is there anything else there or not?
internet, the world is...
I mean, knowing that, I should just skip the whole thing, to be honest.
So many pieces of media have been forgotten and lost to time. And in this series, I aim to document and bring those back to light. Thank you so much for joining me in this first installment of The Darkest Lost Media. I truly appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos, and I truly apologize for the delay on this one.
Oh, ruined them, and not much I can do, man. Not much I can do. I mean, it's kind of appalling. It's kind of appalling that you guys want me to like literally just purposely get banned to show like 5 seconds of a fucking clip or some shit. Like it's like, I don't do TOS, dude. Yeah, it's on YouTube, but fucking TOS. Like these guys. Fuck TOS frogs, dude. I have people in chat that scan the videos, and I know who they are. And if this is something TOS, I believe them. And you know what? It was TOS. So you know what? Yeah, they're correct.